Welcome back to the show, everyone. We're here with another Q&A talking about keto, intermittent fasting, nutrition. Anything that I say is not meant to provide any preventative or cures or anything to even get close to curing anything. Check with your doctor before implementing any of these suggestions. All the information I'm going to share with you are in videos that I've done with scientific studies to back up what I said. And you could research that yourself and look those up. But let's just dive right in, Steve. And I know there's a lot of questions, and I'd just like to get through as many as we can.
Absolutely. So there's equal love to everyone, both on social media and our green room and so on. So let's start off with social media this morning. Ricky from YouTube, could you please do a video on the benefits of using mustard oil? Many people in South Asia are using it to improve their health. What are your thoughts on good old mustard oil, Doc?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, it's good for cramps at night, nocturnal cramps where your calves are cramping, your feet are cramping, your legs are cramping. Mustard seems to work good, but mustard is part of the cruciferous family, so it has a lot of other interesting benefits. I love mustard on pretty much everything, so it's filled with all sorts of amazing properties, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, but it has an interesting effect on muscle cramps.
All right, very good. Now, if anyone's questioning that anyone's watching the show, in addition to the 4 people that are stuck in our green room, we'd like to say a good morning to all our viewers joining us today from the UK. And we do, by the way, have Gil coming from the UK in a little bit. Canada, Mexico, Jordan, India, Yugoslavia, Tanzania, Trinidad and Tobago, Scotland, Germany, Greece, Poland, Austria, Nigeria, Pakistan, South Africa, Chile, Bermuda, Japan, Taiwan, Nepal, Oman, France, Eritrea, New Zealand, the Netherlands, Iceland, Moldova, Bangladesh, Kashmir, Albania, Sri Lanka, Ghana, Finland, Brunei, United Arab Emirates, Denmark, the Czech Republic, Thailand, Switzerland, Ireland, Bulgaria, Peru, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Portugal, Kurdistan, Uzbekistan, Spain, Austria, Iran, Belgium, Colombia, the Virgin Islands, Somalia, Armenia, Jamaica, Israel, and all across the United States of America. So thanks everybody around the world for tuning in to get a load on how to get better health through Dr. Berg's various products and recommendations, but not promises. This is not medical advice. So, but look at all the people that have lost tons of weight and feel great. So that's evidence enough that something good is going on here. All right, why don't we go to the green room? And we've got a nice young lady from the UK in the northeast of the country. So Gil, if you would, oh wait a minute, I think, oh no, her thing might be frozen. Go ahead, Gil, let's give you a try. Unmute yourself and say hello to Dr. Berg.
Hi, Dr. Berg.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, go ahead with your one question,
there.
Gil.
Okay, my question is about chronic fatigue syndrome, ME. I've suffered with this condition for 2 years. And I feel like when I eat carbs that it really impacts on my energy levels. So I've been starting to look at your videos and about intermittent fasting and keto, and I just wondered what you felt about that sort of diet for my condition.
Well, Gil, I had that exact same problem in my 20s, so I know exactly how you feel. I was so exhausted. I didn't know what was going on. The first thing I will mention, because this is in a lot of my videos, is that there's a thing called stress that a lot of people are under that can activate what's called latent viruses like Epstein-Barr virus and other viruses. And that could be one reason for fatigue, chronic fatigue. It's kind of a reactivation of this virus that tends to go dormant and then pop out when you go through stress, because when you go through stress, your immune system is kind of paralyzed. So there's no defenses. So that's one thing. And if that's the problem, you need to do whatever you can to resolve that chronic stress, that situation. It could be anything connected to some stressful person or whatever. But that being said, the energy is produced in a little part of your cell called the mitochondria. It's an energy factory. And in order to get energy out of that cell, we need to convert food into.
Audience, we froze. Our host is frozen for just a moment. Let's give him a chance to come by.
B1, vitamin B1. So thiamine. So if a person is not on keto and they're doing too many carbs, then they're going to overwhelm that spark plug. In other words, your vitamin B1 is needed in very high amounts depending on how much carbohydrate you have. So a lot of times if you don't have enough B1, you won't be able to burn that glucose sugar fuel. So if you get on keto, what happens, that instantly reduces that need for B1 and you start getting energy just from that alone. So I would do this starting immediately. Start at keto, go to my website, drberg.com. Under video, it says start here, watch that video, shows you how to do it. And then get some natural B1. And then together, I think both of those things will pull you right out of that chronic fatigue, unless there's that viral thing going on in the background, which you can also address with handling your stress.
All right, Gil. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us. I think she's frozen a little bit.
Thank you so much.
There she goes. All right,
You're
Gil,
welcome.
get back with us, would
Thank you.
That's great. And let us know how all that works out. All right, why don't we go to another area that's so popular to the program, and that is your fabulous quiz questions. There's the first one for today.
Okay, what material are those floaters in your eye made out of?
I've got a few. Be interested to hear that answer. Okay, let's go back to social media. Viam from the UK on YouTube. My blood sugars are so high in the morning. I'm strictly keto and carnivore, no carbs at all. Why should this be, and should I be worried?
So one of the best tests to determine an insulin deficiency is fasting blood glucose, which is you just slept all night and all of a sudden it's fasting, you check your blood sugars, it's high. So this means that obviously you don't have enough insulin. So insulin is not there to push the blood sugar down. So that usually occurs because you have insulin resistance, because you have a history of eating a lot of carbs and now you're still stuck with this insulin resistance. Now, it could also be a combination of your pancreas getting really, really tired and exhausted to the point where it just can't produce enough of this insulin right now. And that's another thing that happens. So what you want to do is you want to rejuvenate the pancreas as well as fix insulin resistance. So stay on keto, keep doing intermittent fasting, and also add exercise. More exercise will instantly improve that situation and burn up some of that extra sugar. Apple cider vinegar with water is essential. Berberine is one of the best herbs, almost equivalent to metformin. That's just my opinion, by the way. Cinnamon, a little cinnamon on your toast with sugar. I'm being very sarcastic. Just use the cinnamon in other ways, or maybe just take it as a supplement. Vitamin D, either from the sun or a supplement. These are all things that are going to speed things up for you and turn this around pretty quick. So that's what's happening.
Wonderful. Go for it. Okay, this is a good question. I think Lynn from Facebook. What kind of water filter do you use in your home to get rid of chlorine and other materials in our water supply?
You know, in the farmhouse that I'm living in, I have no filter. Well, I have just a sediment filter because the water comes from a spring. But when I lived in the other house, definitely had 2 filters, one that pulled out chlorine and all the other garbage. But unfortunately, a lot of these filters don't also at the same time get rid of the fluorine. So I had to get 2 filters, one for the specific for the fluorine and the other one for everything else. I did a video on this. If you look up my videos on that, you'll find it. but I don't remember the company that I used for those filters. So you can look that up. But you want to get one for chloride and fluoride, and of course the other ones as well.
All right, very good. And a quick reminder, everyone, you can get a very organized version of a great app on both Android and Mac to be able to research that at your fingertips. Okay, we have an answer for our first quiz question of the day. And the quiz question asks, what material are those floaters in your eyes made out of? What yucky stuff is that? And 58% of our respondents say it's some form of sugar or other carbs. 22% say it's proteins, 10% say it's cholesterol, and 10% say it's collagen. Anybody on to something?
You know, it's interesting. It's a combination of both of those answers. It's a combination of sugar and protein. And so the material is basically called glycation end products. It's like a glycated, which means it's basically a combination of the sugar and the protein stuck together. And there's all that is called vitreous gel in the eye is collagen. And when it gets stuck to sugar, it makes these little floaters. And so really they're glycated proteins. And I'm going to create a video and release it to show you how to get rid of those floaters once and for all, because they can be very irritating. But they're not just randomly, they don't just randomly come from anything. They're glycated proteins. And so that's exactly what you also see in diabetes. So that's why it's so important to get on keto to reduce the sugar, because it starts to create this glycation, not just in your eyes, but in your nerves, in your brain, in the arteries, in the red blood cells, all over the place.
All right, audience, watch out for that. I don't know what I did wrong. I have had those in the past, and eventually I just ignore them. But maybe
you get used to them.
Yeah.
Also, fasting is really good for them as well.
Interesting. All right, very good. Let's see. We talked to her. Let's see. Neil Francis from YouTube, please share your advice for eradicating kidney stones naturally. Is there such a thing?
There is such a thing. The first thing you want to do to prevent a kidney stone from forming is to keep the urine very diluted, so it doesn't form a super concentrated, usually it's a calcium oxalate stone. So you want to drink minimally 2.5 liters of fluid a day. Okay, so that's like very important. And then we want to beef up, no pun intended, your citrates with lemon water or a lemon a day. That will help because that citrate tends to prevent the binding of the calcium and the oxalates. So that's another thing you can do. You can also take certain supplements like potassium citrate or magnesium citrate. You want to make sure that if you get that in an electrolyte powder, it doesn't also come with the maltodextrin, which is in all the different products that they put out there. Get a quality one. A couple other things you can do. Avoid certain foods high in oxalates like spinach, almonds, chocolate, kiwis. And if you happen to eat some spinach, for example, or almonds, also at the same time, consume some cheese, because that calcium that you have with it, like if you, let's say you have some cheese with spinach, like feta cheese, or they have different cheeses, that calcium will bind with the oxalate and it will prevent it from being reabsorbed and go through the kidney, creating that oxalate problem. So those are just some simple tips, but I have a lot of videos on kidney stones and it can be totally prevented. And if you happen to have a kidney stone, I also show you how to do like massage to help maybe push it out, because it can be slightly painful at times.
Oh, very good. Here's one. I'm curious your answer. Albert from YouTube, Dr. Berg, how do I raise my HDL and LDL? I hope that's right, Terry. I'm on a low-carb diet for the last 6 months and have lost a lot of weight and feel much better, but my libido is down and my triglycerides are in the normal range. Does that make any sense, Doc? Is there any cause to raise?
The triglycerides are in a normal range or abnormal range?
Well, it says normal range, so I'm not quite sure what to make of that question. Is there any case where it's important to raise LDL and HDL? Maybe that's a way to phrase that.
Yeah. Well, one of the best things to do is what you're doing. You're on a low carb diet. But the other thing you have to make sure of is you want to make sure that the quality of those foods are healthy. We're not talking about the dirty keto. See, if you see, keto is just low carb, right? So that's, I mean, okay. So then what can you do? Unlimited fat, unlimited MCT oil, unlimited grease? Like, no, of course not. You want to do like I say, a lot of salads. That fiber will help bind some of the cholesterol. You also want to work on the quality of meat, so you have the nutrition, so you actually end up feeling good on the keto. Now, as far as testosterone goes, so many people, when they get on keto, improve their testosterone. So I suspect there's something that you're either missing or you're not doing right with that. I would go to my website and look at that, because we might need to add some more zinc, for example, to increase your testosterone. This is why I recommend certain supplements while you're on keto, like electrolytes, B vitamins, trace minerals. So that should help you. But I'm going to release a video. I don't think I've released this video, but it's certain indications that you're not doing keto right. One is fatigue. One is like feeling worse. And I go through each scenario. So you should stay tuned for that video. I'm pretty sure I did not release that yet, but I will. So those are just some quick things to think about.
Well, I don't know how on earth you remember which ones you've done and haven't. I guess you got to research it like everybody else. Anyway, Lisa from Facebook, how can I address and prevent heart palpitations?
Usually, if you have the right amount of electrolytes, like magnesium, potassium, you'll get rid of electrolytes. Also, palpitations. I'm sorry. If you also have a pH problem, if your pH goes too far one way or the other, you can develop palpitations too. So let's say, for example, you start taking a lot of antacids, right? And you start throwing off the stomach acid. Now your absorption of electrolytes could be off. Or let's say you're on a diuretic and that's sucking out all your potassium. Then you can develop, palpitations. I had some pretty bad palpitations once, and I was eating really good and I didn't know where it was coming from. And then I started looking at EMF. I don't know if I have my unit right here, but electromagnetic fields. And I checked my entire house and I found where they were. They were on the wall right in the back of my bed, right behind the headboard. And I found very high levels of what's called magnetic fields that extended 8 feet from the wall. So apparently in that wall, there was all these crossing of wires that I was literally being bathed in these, in a magnet. So I had an electrician come over, open up the wall, fix everything. Never had those palpitations again. I even went so far as I got a cardiologist to send me one of those, what do you call them? They're kind of like a remote testing device that they check your heart with. It's like a
Halter monitor,
kg or something. And it was less than 5%, so apparently it wasn't a problem, but I felt it. But after that, getting, really watching out these EMFs, so it handled my palpitations. So I think the advantage for everyone watching is have a library of information on health that pretty much I had almost every single problem that everyone had. So I can relate to it. So I do videos on that.
Indeed. Okay. Demo Duo is the handle for this person from YouTube. Every time I take D3, vitamin C, and zinc, I get a rash around my eyes. When I stop taking them, the rash clears up. Any thoughts on what's going on with Demo Duo?
First thing I would wonder is I'd like to know what the quality of those nutrients are, because if you're taking, for example, your vitamin C, but it's really just ascorbic acid, which they make from sulfuric acid and cornstarch, that could be why, because you're reacting to something in those ingredients. So I would suspect there's something either as a binder or something in the supplements. One dirty little secret that a lot of vitamin companies are using is very low level ingredients and hidden maltodextrin and all sorts of stuff, especially from these brand names that you don't really know who's behind it. It's just a brand, but you don't really know the quality. You don't know the person who designs it. This is one of the reasons why we're starting to grow our own ingredients for our supplements. So that way everyone can actually see or even come to the farm and actually visualize here it is right here. So it's a very, very interesting topic, but I think I'll stop right there, Steve.
All right. Well, let's stop there and start with question number 2 for the day. And there it is.
All right. True or false? The alkaline water generated from alkaline water machines can make your body more alkaline.
Huh. Tongue twister.
Is that true or false?
All right, folks. Okay, let's see. Brittany from Facebook, I have neuropathy. Are there any supplements that she can take to help with the pain she's experiencing?
Yeah, the thing that comes to mind right off the bat is the benfotiamine. It is synthetic, but it seems to be one of the only synthetic ones that I do recommend. It's a B1 that doesn't penetrate the central nervous system of the brain too well, but it definitely penetrates the peripheral nerves in your bottom of your feet and your hands. So if you have peripheral neuropathy, or either from diabetes or some other reason, boy, benfotiamine works like a charm. I would take whatever it says on the ingredients. Just take 4 of those and spread it through the day. A lot of times you'll see those products with alpha lipoic acid, which is another great remedy for that as well. So the combination of both of those is awesome. So benfotiamine and alpha lipoic acid.
All right, very good. Let's see. I'm Rule is the name from Facebook. Any advice for an extremely stubborn dead skin on the scalp? Not sure if I can call it dandruff or folliculitis or something.
Well, it sounds to me that we do have a problem with maybe the formation of that skin. Even if you don't have dandruff, it could be like a dandruff related situation, because in dandruff you have this overgrowth of this fungus, amongus, and it basically eats as its food the oil from your sebaceous glands in your scalp. That's what it lives on, because it can't make its own fatty acid. So it eats the oil. And so the solution to that is to lower the oil production and starve off that fungus by increasing more zinc in your diet, okay, or as a supplement. Zinc will tend to help. And then, because if you're deficient in zinc, what'll happen is you can start developing this flaking on the skin. You know, it could be all sorts of various dermatitis, inflammation of the skin, or things like that. But the other last point I want to bring up is that when you take a shower and you're using tap water, it's not filtered, some of that chlorine and fluorine can throw off the microbes on your skin, your scalp, and then leave the fungus unchecked. And then that starts to overgrow, just like an antibiotic. You take an antibiotic and then you end up with a yeast infection or a candida infection. Why? Because antibiotics only kill bacteria, not fungus.
Interesting. Okay. The astute audience was on it and has an answer for question number 2, which is a true falsehood. The alkaline water generated from the alkaline water machines can make your body more alkaline. Somehow that makes sense. And the audience, 65% of them say it's false and 35% say it's true. Who is correct?
I'm sure the people who sell these machines are going to be upset, but when we talk about pH, people they consider like acid is something really bad and really, it creates sickness, but alkaline is healthy, right? But we have amino acids, that's protein. You have fatty acids, they're both essential, right? Those are good. You have this very important stomach acid that if you didn't have, you would literally be very, very sick. The large intestine is slightly acid. Your urine is acid. So the different parts of the body need different pHs. But when people are talking about alkaline, they're really talking about the blood mainly, which is supposed to be slightly alkaline, and that's normal. But by drinking the alkaline water, it's not going to change the blood. In fact, it's very difficult to eat something or take something and change the blood pH. It's possible, but it's very difficult. What you do end up changing, you start to dilute the stomach acid with this alkaline water, especially if the alkalinity is too high. So you start changing the stomach acid because some of the side effects now are going to be GERD, acid reflux, and the exact problem you're trying to probably get rid of, and heartburn or gas. These are all symptoms when you start diluting your stomach acid because the valve now doesn't close and you can't break down protein, you can't kill microbes. So you end up with like small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, you get bloating, you can't absorb minerals. So there's a lot of problems when you start to mess with alkalizing that stomach. But of course, some people are going to say, well, water from the spring or an artesian well is naturally alkaline. So well, that's naturally because of the minerals in it. What they do when they alkalize the water on those machines is they don't add more minerals to it. They put electricity in it and they alter the chemistry of that, which is very unnatural. So don't recommend it, but you're not going to have a problem if you drink natural mineral water or, spring water.
All right, very good. Let's go to Martin, who is in San Diego, and he's unmuting himself, and we've lost him a few times, so I want to dart in here and put him right now. Martin, go ahead with your quick question for Dr. Berg.
Good morning, Dr. Berg. So good to be on here. Thanks for having me. I'm a huge fan. I love your work. Thanks for all your service to humanity, I feel like. I'm a 46. I'm going to read off this script because I know I got to get through this quick, 30 seconds. I'm a 46-year-old man with a heart arrhythmia I was born with, sleep issues, and now I have an issue in my right eye. I started passing out from this heart issue at age 12, and now I have a defibrillator that will shock my heart if I need it. I'm an active person. I could run 3 miles in 19 minutes like about a year ago, but I had to stop running because the heart started acting up a lot. So over the last year, I've had arrhythmias that needed therapy from the defibrillator. And I've also, for the last 10 years, I've had sleep issues where I wake up at 3 a.m. And I know you've had those issues too. So I can get to sleep fine, like wake up at 3 a.m. That started about 10 years ago. I was also diagnosed with clinical depression 10 years ago. I started taking fish oil, vitamin D, and some magnesium at that time for that. And avoiding sugar. So I've done that for the clinical depression, but I still have the sleep issues. And I still have, now I'm having heart issues after 20 years of having basically asymptomatic from this. It's called long QT syndrome. So I've had about 5 shocks from my defibrillator in the last 5 years. And that was 20 years before that with nothing. So now I've been watching your videos a lot over the last year. I think I've narrowed it down to adrenal fatigue because I have no butt. I'm just being honest. And POTS. I think I have POTS and or insulin resistance. My blood glucose level is about 97 on average, which I think probably is a little high for somebody like myself. I've been doing healthy keto and intermittent fasting for the last 3 months. And it has helped flatten my stomach for sure. And a lot of other things. My stomach looks better than ever. I just want to say to people out there, if you're trying to flatten your stomach by running, it's not going to work. It's the healthy keto and long walks. It's way more effective for that. So anyway, I've seen your videos on trying to relax to avoid issues with adrenal fatigue. I'm trying to do that, but I am a self-employed musician. And after 3 months of being on healthy keto, I'm still only sleeping about 5 to 6 hours a night. And I'd like to sleep 7 to 8, like the sleep experts say you're supposed to, some of the sleep experts. I know you say it can take months to heal from the insulin resistance, but how do I know, months or years to heal from the insulin resistance and or adrenal fatigue, but how do I know if I'm on the right track? And also, sometimes I just feel really overwhelmed. And is there a way I can get some one-on-one help with you or somebody else in your association? Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that one question. No, I was kidding. Yeah, there's plenty of coaches that we have. If you call in, and we can kind of help you narrow down things for sure. Just to unpack this one quick question, I think I would start loading up on electrolytes in general, and that's going to take. It could take up to 3 to 4 to 5 months to restore the intracellular electrolytes, which are potassium, magnesium, because those are the 2 key ones that are involved in that pacemaker. So that's one thing. And I think you're correct on this stress aspect, but you are going to be in luck because in practice, I had a device that measured the autonomic nervous system. using a technology called heart rate variability. And it's a wonderful machine because it's a device that's very inexpensive, and you could literally look inside someone's body and you can measure how much sympathetic versus how much parasympathetic versus your capacity to adapt, which is all about that POTS condition that you mentioned, which when you might stand up and your body can't adapt. And also it'll measure your intensity of adapting. So it's a really great test. And I found out, I recently reached out and I found the person who can supply me these units. So you can get one. You can get one very soon. So just, give me about a month to get all my ducks in a row with that. But this will allow people to learn more about a biofeedback tool to measure the nervous system inside and be able to figure things out, because that's what you're missing. It's like hard to do a test other than go to a neurologist and have them put you on a table and, which could be very expensive and very painful. But this is a great test to look inside to see really what's going on, and then to do things to see what works and what doesn't. You could also need probably a lot of B1 to support the parasympathetic nervous system, which is probably affecting the heart. But yeah, in this device, all you have to do is put your finger in a clip and it picks up this information off of your heartbeat. I suspect when you go to sleep at night, the heart rate affects the circadian rhythm, and that's going to just pop you out of that sleep. So, but there's so many things you can do. Once we kind of isolate where the problem is coming from, I really think it could be adrenal. But you're born with this situation. And of course, every time you have your heart shocked, that puts another stress. So in the meantime, while you're waiting for this unit, you can watch my video on the stress seminar, I think it's called, where you actively work on these adrenal extra stress points and start to do this manual therapy before you go to sleep at night. I think you'll find great benefit with that. But in the meantime, start increasing your reserve for electrolytes, B1, and continue what you're doing. It does take a bit of time with this insulin resistance. So I hope that at least puts you on the right track.
That's great. Hey, listen, Martin, we are out of time, so we really appreciate you coming on with it. We'd love to hear back on what we pray is your great success with that. So thank you so much for that. Let's launch on with quiz question number 3, and there it is, Doc.
Okay. And I think, did we answer the last question, Steve?
Let's see. I'm going to be embarrassed if we didn't. Terry, did we? I think we must have. Terry isn't arguing with me otherwise, but if we discover otherwise. Well, quiz question number 2 was 65% said it's false and 35%. Yeah, we did. We answered that.
Okay, good. Just making sure.
Okay,
all
very
right.
good.
So this question is, what triggers growth hormone more? Okay, heat or cold therapy?
And there's a lot of both of those therapies going around. Everyone's either freezing to death or sauning, and apparently both are pretty good for you. So that'll be interesting. And our producer, Terry, confirmed, yes, we did. So great. No screw-ups on the questions yet, which I'm known for. Okay, a Guzal from YouTube. I love you, and I'm grateful to have you in my life. Hugs from Uzbekistan. Isn't that great? Well, thank you for that, Guzal. I hope all is well with you there. And let's see. Robot from YouTube, is there any relation between a vitamin D deficiency and colon cancer?
I mean, it doesn't pop out as the big correlation there, but I'm sure it's possible because of what the B vitamins do in protection, what they do in the mitochondria in the Krebs cycle. So I can imagine if you're missing, whether it's B2 or B3 or B6 or B5 or B1, it can definitely set you up for mitochondrial problems, that's really where the heart of this cancer starts from, is in the mitochondria. So that is, it's definitely possible.
All right, very good. Next from our green room is a nice lady, Nance, and she's just outside of Philly somewhere. And Nance, you're on with Dr. Berg.
Hi, Dr. Berg. Thank you so much. I really enjoy you've helped me so much with regard to inflammation that I've had. I began keto and intermittent fasting, and it has just really, really helped me. I have a quick question in that I am past menopause and all of that, but I have noticed lately, and I've only been on keto for 6 weeks and the fasting, that I've had fevers lately. I've had a few fevers. They don't last a long time. They're just almost like a hot flash, but I know it's not a hot flash. So I just wondered if you know what might be going on there.
So do you feel okay when you have this fever, like your body just heats up? Or do you feel like you're kind of running down with something?
No, I don't feel like I'm getting sick or anything. I just feel like I'm having kind of like a hot flash, just a few moments of this fever.
So, and this is, you've noticed this when you started keto, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, here's my thought on that. It could be related, not like a hot flash or a night sweat, but the temperature control of the body is located in the hypothalamus. And so, here you made this huge change and you're now in fat burning and things might be adjusting one way or the other. But if it was a true fever, I would say take more calcium because that will snap someone out of a fever. But I don't think that's what you need. I think I would support the pituitary and the hypothalamus. And there's a great standard process product that I think would benefit you. And it's called E-manganese, and it has some pituitary extract in there, but that tends to work if you're going through menopause and you have this like these strange symptoms, whether it could be a hot flash or anything involving something called luteinizing hormone or follicle stimulating hormone, which basically goes down to the ovaries. I think the E-manganese would probably be the best bet, and it's a standard process product. I'm not affiliated with them, but you can get that, take one before bed, and I think that might help you. Now, as a side note, not that you have this condition, but it's also really good for endometriosis. I used to use it a lot, but it's good to, it's helpful in connecting the dots between the pituitary and the ovaries, that whole pathway there.
Great. Thank you so much. I love standard process, so I will look that up.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's great. Mm-hmm. Thanks for a great job, Nance, on the show with us. We appreciate that. And we have answers to quiz question number 3. And it asks, what triggers more growth hormone, heat or cold therapy, which is so popular these days? And 72% of our respondents say it's the cold therapy, and 28% say it's heat therapy. Any winners?
Both cold and heat therapy, like saunas and cold immersion, stimulate the heat shock proteins, which directly increase growth hormone. But the heat therapy stimulates more growth hormone than the cold therapy.
Huh.
But they both will increase growth hormone. Now, why would we want to increase growth hormone? Well, maybe you're competing in some world event where you need to have the edge. I'm just being sarcastic. You don't want to take growth hormone from that. But if you're getting older, the growth hormone goes down. When you reach even 65 years old, it can go down over 50% or more, sometimes even 60 to 70% down. So here you're stuck with the growth hormone. So it's hard to build muscle. It's easy to build fat. And it's also hard to recover and regenerate and rejuvenate and heal without that growth hormone. Your highest peak of growth hormone is when you're in your late teens, where you could basically heal very fast. And after that, it goes downhill. So you have something to look forward to, everyone. But how do you increase that growth hormone? One way is just the sauna treatments will give you a nice spike in growth hormone. And also heat will help you sleep And sleeping helps growth hormone. So is it the chicken or the egg? Well, they both can affect each other. So both heat will help you sleep and increase growth hormone, and then sleep will help growth hormone increase as well. So they both complement each other, and it's something you want to maybe add. And if you don't have a sauna, maybe you could take a hot shower and stay in there for a little bit longer in the evening. So that way you can sleep better at night.
Interesting. So a quick thing, is there any sort of rules as how long you should stay in a sauna? And I'm sure that's heat related. I mean,
I would go to your tolerance, because you'll find that your tolerance will increase over time. Some people can tolerate it initially for, depending on the temperature, like 5 minutes, and then it goes up from there, and to the point where they take breaks and they come out and they go back in an hour, even longer. But yeah, so you can do. There's a lot of benefits to that heat therapy. It's like it adds a stress that your body will then adapt to. But I'm right now, I'm doing them both. I'm doing the sauna, and then I jump right into that cold immersion. And that seems to be a nice little 1-2 punch. And it's interesting, very interesting.
Wonderful. Okay, quiz question number 4. Here it is.
Okay, what major vitamin deficiency can make you susceptible to getting a sty? That little thing in your eye where it's like this little pustule in your eyelid. It's very irritating.
All right, audience, climb on that, because no one likes styes. Let's see now. Poor Marcia, excuse me, from YouTube. What's the best remedy for migraines? Just awful things.
Well, one is that you need more sea salt. That's a really kind of a no-brainer. Also, niacin is another thing that helps migraines. The other thing that I would look at as well is some type of herbal support for your liver. And that could be a lot of different things. Milk thistle, it could be also turmeric, but that seems to also be really good for migraines. But you can watch my videos on that. There's, it's like, to figure that out, sometimes you need more of a history to see where it started, what happened right before that, and then rule out the low-hanging fruit.
All right, very good. Okay, our final contestant, if you will, is Mike in Elkin, Maryland. And Mike, if you would unmute yourself, I'm going to stick you on with Dr. Berg. And as you talk to him, I'm going to center up your shot. There we go, sitting up. Perfect. Go ahead with your one quick question, sir.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Dr. Berg. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
All right, great. Doctor, I have a calcium on my aortic valve. It's called mild to moderate. And I saw your D3 K2 vitamin, and I wanted to try that out. But my only question was, does the K2 cause any kind of clotting? Is that something I should take an aspirin, 81 or something like that? What do you think about that?
So because vitamin K2 is in the family of vitamin K1, which is a clotting factor, people assume, well, vitamin K2 will do the same. I have not found any information that it says that it can clot at all, and I've looked at that very extensively. You can also do research on that. The other thing that you may want to consider, and I will release a video on this, is to add to that protocol nattokinase. Nattokinase. It's a very powerful anti-fibrotic, blood thinning, natural remedy, which also is wonderful for taking the plaque out of your arteries. Not just the calcium, because the K2 is more the calcium, but also the fibrous tissue. I'll tell you what, I'll see if I can release that video tomorrow just for you.
Thank you so much.
You can learn about it. I think you'll find it very interesting. You would think, out of all the research, which will blow you away on this nattokinase, that it would be on the front page of the news, but of course we know why it's not. Right. But that's another great thing to support that calcification. What was your score?
I should have that right here. Calcium score. Which one? Total?
Coronary artery calcium score?
Well, score. I have different ones. 799, 929. I'm looking at different numbers here.
Okay.
Calcium volume. You see it there? Can you see it?
Pull it back a
Yeah.
little bit,
Well, I
sir.
think
Oh,
the bottom line is you want it to be normal. So
right.
zero. I'm sorry, you want it to be zero.
Zero.
And,
Okay.
so here's the thing. Here's the thing that you can do. Do whatever you do.
Okay.
Clean up your diet, and then retest it in about 6 to 8 weeks. And if it's going in the right direction, then that's a good thing, and keep going. And that's a good feedback because, I think you can change that score, and then for sure, well, whatever you're doing is working. Of course, you got to really change your diet and everything too. But the endothelial part of that artery is kind of like a barometer of your lifestyle and all the things that you're eating. So I think stay tuned tomorrow for that video. I'll post it tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.
Great. Thanks a lot, Mike, for your great call, if you will.
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. The answer for quiz question number 4, which asked of the audience, what major vitamin deficiency can make you susceptible to one of those icky styes? And 65% of respondents say it's a vitamin A deficiency, 15% say C deficiency, 10% say it's vitamin D deficiency, and the final 10 say it's a zinc deficiency. Are they on the right track?
Vitamin A is the answer. When you're deficient in vitamin A, you start, you can have what's called this extra keratin that builds up on the skin, and especially around the sebaceous gland, the oil gland. And now you have this oil that can't get out. And then it starts building up as pressure. And then you get this bacterial infection. And so, the doctors, they'll lance it, they'll put you maybe on an antibiotic, they'll try to do something with it, sometimes a steroid shot. But what if it comes back? What do you do next? Do you keep doing that? I think it's a good indicator of a vitamin A deficiency. And so what would you eat to increase your vitamin A? Cod liver oil. Cod liver oil is the best thing. Of course, egg yolks are good, but even more than that is beef liver. But some people don't like liver, but those are things that are very high in vitamin A. And that should help regulate the skin and also that little gland that's developing around the little hair follicle on your eyelid.
They're uncomfortable. Okay, final question for the day, Dr. Berg, and here it is, another true-falser.
Okay, true or false? Melatonin helps you go to sleep, but it doesn't help you stay asleep.
All right. Go get it, audience, your final one. And let's go back to Facebook. Nisha, is flaxseed good for post-menopausal women with thyroid disease?
Yes, it is good. It is good. Absolutely. So it has a lot of phytoestrogens that will help to balance estrogen. So it helps to shift the ratios of the good and bad estrogen. So it is good for women, and also it gives you some other additional cool things. This is a precursor to the omega-3 fatty acids, and there's a lot of other phytonutrients in it as well.
Okay, very good. Leela from YouTube, what advice would you give to a pregnant mother who has been diagnosed with H.pylori and a vitamin deficiency?
Well, one of the best remedies for that is sulforaphane from the broccoli sprouts or broccoli microgreens. So start adding those into the salad each day, and that sulforaphane has been known to suppress that microbe, H. pylori, that tends to create a lot of problems for people. Don't forget to add betaine hydrochloride to your diet to start increasing the acid, because that little sneaky, devious microbe starts to interfere with your ammonia, breakdown of protein, forming too much ammonia. And ammonia is very, very alkaline. So it basically creates this ammonia to neutralize the stomach acid so it can survive better. So how do we counter that? keep putting betaine hydrochloride into your stomach before you eat to acidify the stomach, to put that thing back in remission. So many people have this microbe living without any harm in our stomachs. It's only when we change the environment and stress them out that their relationship changes and they become from neutral to very unfriendly. Happens with a lot of other microbes too. If you change the environment, their relationship changes. Probably with people too, right? Change their environment and their relationship changes. They
Yeah.
get pissed off.
Well, that can happen. Very touchy breed, us humans, I'll tell you. All right, so the last quiz question of the day was a true-falser, and it asked, is melatonin help you go to sleep, but it can't help you stay asleep? Do you wake back up often? 85% of respondents say it's true. 15% say it's absolutely false. Sleep all night.
It's true. It's true. It doesn't help you stay asleep, but it will definitely help you fall asleep. I don't recommend taking melatonin. A better way to get melatonin is just from infrared, from being out in the sun. And
Interesting.
infrared is over 50% of this spectral energy from that sun. So you get a lot of infrared. You can also get it from sitting in front of a campfire or candles around you, or even like a fireplace. So that infrared stimulates a different type of sourced melatonin that can actually help your sleep as well. But you can also get it from the sun, or even a infrared light, which is a great therapy. But yeah, so taking the supplements, now you're going to start to interrupt your normal production from your pineal, and who knows what kind of complications that's going to create after that. So a lot of people can get the first part of the sleep, but not the second half, because the first part is more of the deep delta wave sleep, which is the most important. And then you have the REM sleep, which is more superficial, which it's kind of a paradox, because here you are sleeping, but the waves are similar to being awake. So this is where you dream and you remember your dreams. It's second half of the day. But as we age, we kind of lose that second part of sleep. So you have to catch up with the naps or trying to go back to sleep. I have a lot of videos and other things you can do to support that as well. But just so you know, melatonin is mainly for the first part of the sleep.
All right, very good. And let's all sit out in the sun. We could use that for vitamin D and other things. I'm sure now the audience and everyone has behaved so well in the green room that we have a little extra time. So it's going to be all social media for the last 5 minutes or so. And let's hear from Kiki from Facebook. What do you recommend for treating fever blisters or cold sores on the lip?
I would take L-lysine, okay, to put the virus back in. Vitamin C sometimes helps, and zinc.
All right. Very good.
You know, it's a virus that's comes out of remission when you go through stress, and so it's kind of like a stress indicator. That's why I think this little stress testing device that measures your autonomic nervous system, that's going to be very important, because I have one, and you're able to kind of look and see inside your body without doing some type of operation, and it's a real great test that you can figure out, like, how stressed is your body, and what you need to do to improve it, and then use it as a biofeedback to see if what you're doing is working.
All right, very good. And I'm asking this one because I'm excited about maybe saying the name of this product right. Sugar Plum from YouTube, my thyroid is gone. Is it okay to take selenium and levothyroxine? Did I say something right there? Levothyroxine?
Yeah, you're going to have to take, if your thyroid's gone, you're going to have to take some type of thyroid hormone for sure. I would prefer Armor or some other natural form, but that's between you and your doctor. But selenium is also very, very important, because that helps many different parts and aspects of the thyroid, including the conversion from the inactive T4 to the active T3. So, yeah, I mean, like, the problem with you taking either a T3 or T4 without is this: the thyroid produces more than just this T4 or T3. It produces calcitonin, Where's that coming from? If you're not if you have your thyroid removed, what is producing calcitonin? Well, you might say, well, it's not that important. Well, yeah, it is for your bones, and your calcium works with the parathyroid. Hopefully you still have the parathyroid, but I would watch my videos on those topics because there's a lot more to be said on that.
Okay, here's a curiosity. TV, they're calling themselves, from Texas, on YouTube. Why is your unflavored collagen product red?
Why is my unflavored collagen product red?
Yeah, does that make sense?
I don't have a collagen product.
Wow. Well, if you did, why would you make it red? No.
Yeah, I would just add some food coloring to make it look good. No, I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, sorry about that. Maybe check the label, see who's making that stuff, and I hope they can solve that for you. Ali from YouTube, what are your thoughts about taking ashwagandha?
I like it. It's one of the best adaptogens, again, related to stress, increasing your capacity to stress. So you have a couple different aspects of this. You have stress hitting you, right? And then your body's reaction, and also how much reserve do you have in the tank? How much capacity do you have to handle stress? Is your tolerance for stress low, medium, or high? Well, ashwagandha, what it does is it improves that. It starts to build up your reserve so you can handle more and more stress and not fly off the handle, but just have this reserve that you can deal with life and not get so flustered. So it's a great thing. It's been used for a couple years now, I think over 2,000. And there's several adaptogens as well, like ginseng is one, but I like ashwagandha a lot because you feel good after it and you feel like a sense of relief.
Huh. Is that a product you sell? Or is it in a product you sell?
Yes, we do have an ashwagandha, high quality ashwagandha product. So
great.
Yes.
All right, Catherine from Facebook.
Of course, I'm not biased.
No, not at all. In fact, he's hoping that you'll purchase it somewhere else. Catherine from Facebook, what are the best supplements to take for chronic gastritis?
The best thing for gastritis would be cabbage juice, or eat cabbage. Zinc is important as well. That's one condition where you don't want to take betaine hydrochloric or an acid or apple cider vinegar because you're going to worsen that irritation to the stomach. Wheatgrass juice powder is a really good one too. Mix them with some water, sip it down there. It tends to calm down the stomach acid. Also, zinc carnosine is another essential nutrient for that. So, yeah, I have more data in my videos on that topic.
Well, that's interesting. Well, the audience heard the call. We needed a lot of social media stuff to round out the show, and they certainly gave it to us. So, thank you for keeping us from experiencing what's known as dead air. We're staring in the microphone, and you did it. So thank you for that. And Doc, I guess that's it for the weekend.
Hey, thanks to everyone. Stay tuned next week. I have some really interesting videos coming up. I think you'll enjoy them. Have a great weekend.